Hello everyone, this is going to be my hybrid Templar build for the higher DLC patch. Templar right now is still pretty good. It's a bit worse than last patch because of the Living Dark nerf, but it's probably still one of the uh, best performing classes in this meta. Basically, because of the new mythics, everybody's dealing a shit ton of damage, so you want to be pretty tanky and still have enough damage to kill people. So here goes. We're using, of course, trainee chest in heavy, reinforced with magma, two medium divines, rallying cry. So that's on the back bar with a well-fitted sash, and mechanical acuity front bar with three more medium pieces. So we're in five medium, one light, one heavy, with six divines. One reinforced. Back bar we're using rallying cry restoration staff, defending with a berserker enchant. Front bar we're using dual wield mechanical acuity axes because the critical damage buff from axes is way better than maces. And we're using Nernhone on the main hand and Sharpen on the offhand with a shock enchant and a absorb stamina enchant. The reason for this is because the shock enchant is going to proc minor vulnerability on people, and the absorb stamina is going to proc Sundered, which basically gives a minor breach. For our jewelry, we're still using Markin. So the reason why I'm not using Sea Serpent's Coil is because of the snare. Basically, the amount of stats you have to drop to make up for the snare is too big. So we're still using this, and of course, Oaken Soul is. I mean, it's Oaken Soul. Don't run Oaken Soul. It's a very bad mythic. Very bad. We're using Rallying Cry, of course, two Bloodthirsty, one Protective, three spell damage enchants. For our skills, you might have noticed that we're using Dual with Resto, Living Dog, Jabs, Caltrops, Purifying Light, Vigor. DB, the reason why we're not using Crescent is that we're not using a CC anymore, so we kind of are forced to use this. It's also not bad because we get 3% extra spell damage. For the back bar, we're using Race Against Time, Restoring Focus, Blinding Flare, Rapid Regeneration, Extended Ritual, and Light's Champion. You can also go for the other morph of the Rest ulti, the one that gives more healing. I'm simply using this one because of Major Force, which is a massive buff considering we're using Acuity. Alright, for the champion points, we are using Swift Renewal, which is one of the healing CPs which increases the amount of healing over time you get. So the reason why we're not going for focused mending is because we're not using a burst heal, so we don't really need the single target one. For our second CP, we're using Duelist Rebuff. Basically, we're forced to run this because of the amount of bow sorks, mag decays running around. Then we're using Ironclad, same reason as previously. And then for our offensive CP, we're using Fighting Finesse, which is the best one considering we have Acuity. For our red CPs, we're using Juggernaut. Once more, we need a mitigation CP because of the amount of damage this patch has. You need to basically have as much mid as possible because you're going to be taking enormous amounts of damage. For other CPs, we're using Pain's Refuge, Sustained by Suffering, and Survival Instincts. Yeah, this is the best CP combination right now for the recipes. If you really have stamina issues, I guess you could drop Juggernaut for Slippery, but Juggernaut is way better. For our food, we're still using Bear Haunch and Vampire Stage 3. You cannot really use another food because you need the Magicka and the Stamina Sustain. And using Jaws of Mistral is just too much of a stat loss. For our Mundus, we're using Serpent. It's a very good Mundus considering we're using Divines. It gives a lot of stamina regen. That also means you could decide to go well fitted on your gear, but that's subjective. You can use whatever you prefer. Personally, I like Divines more because I don't find myself dodge rolling often unless I'm in a situation where I would die either way and wouldn't make a difference. What else? Yeah, I'm playing Khajiit. because we had to invest so much of our CPs into mitigation, because it kind of comes in clutch to give us the damage we're lacking. Filling ambush is probably one of the best or the best race passive in ESO, simply because the amount of crit damage this gives is basically just as much as the Shadow Mundus. So yeah, this is completely broken, especially since we're using Cutie. So we're basically making a mega tank and just completely investing into crit damage. Um, Basically, we have 62% critical damage, which could go higher if we decided to go one more medium. And yeah, you'll notice that the jabs total themselves is really not that high. It's 3k. It goes a bit higher when you proc Rallying Cry and Magma, but that's not a problem because we have 2 Bloodthirsty and yeah, an enormous amount of crit damage with Acuity. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think there are better setups for the moment. I still need to do more testing, but this is probably the strongest you can get for now, unless until they release new sets. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, just send them to me in the comments, and I'll be sure to answer them. Alright, thank you very much.